Give me a minute and let's talk about the fuel shortage inside of Russia, which is a real thing, despite what some self-styled experts on here would have you believe. Anyway, there's a fuel crisis in Russia, which does seem unbelievable given the fact that Russia has some of the largest reserves of oil on the planet. Their economy is 60% oil and gas, natural gas here, with huge reserves of Urals crude oil, natural gas. They are a major world exporter. It seems impossible that they could have a shortage, right? Now, one of the critical things to understand about the Russian retail market versus its wholesale market for refined oil products is that the retail market is subsidized by the government. So one of the benefits to the Russian people is that their price of gas is historically very low because the government subsidizes it. They don't have the money to subsidize anything, and they're cutting the gas subsidies. And so now suddenly the price of gas is playing more like a free market commodity does. And that's having real implications because since the ban on Russian oil by most of the world and the loss of their biggest customer, the EU, Russia has had to close 22 of its 44 mega refineries. So they are at half capacity for producing refined oil and gas products. Now, you're producing half of what you normally do, and you need money. So the ruble is weak. Selling that inside Russia doesn't make sense for the wholesale suppliers who are free market. And that's a critical distinction to make. For the Russian people, the price of their gasoline and diesel is subsidized. It's not a free market. But the wholesalers have to compete on the world market. And so that's not regulated in the same way, not subsidized in the same way, but rather is the main source of revenue for the Russian government. To the tune of refined oil and gas products today of about $275 million a day. A day. That's $1 billion about every 3.5 days. If they have to keep this export ban that they've put in place to address this shortage internally for a month, it's going to cost them $10 billion in revenues. Huge. Plus, of course, they're still subsidizing gas inside of Russia, gasoline and diesel inside Russia to keep the price low, just not at the same subsidy levels that they have been. So this guy wants to know, and this guy, if you guys don't watch Russian TV, I encourage you every once in a while to tune in because the shit that comes out of their mouths, boy, there is nothing like it. These people are fact proof. They are fact proof. And they are not interested in you and your facts at all. Just take a listen to what this guy says. Why is the price of gasoline so high? At the same time in our country, such questions are systemic. Systemic, meaning that this is happening from Kamchatka to Kursk. It's everywhere. And there are no simple answers. There is a war going on. The guys, meaning the military, need gasoline. At that time, the Ministry of Defense has to spend huge sums of money to refuel military equipment. Budget? Now see, what you gotta understand is that these people don't believe that free market forces are real. They don't believe that popular uprisings are a thing. They think that every revolution is engineered by their enemies. They think that markets are all secretly or openly controlled by cartels like OPEC. They do not believe in free market. They don't think it's a thing. They don't think it's real. They don't think that the laws of supply and demand on which the modern global economy is based, they do not believe in them. So he needs a different answer. We're having record agricultural collections. So now the farmers have to spend crazy money because diesel is more expensive than gasoline 92. I have a question. Here it comes, folks. Here comes the conspiracy theory. You, who are in the gasoline business, are you against the people? I just want to understand. Are you against the people? Can we get a list? He wants a list of all the people responsible for this. There's going to be hell to pay. Somebody's going to hang for this. Everyone who is responsible for this pricing, to know everyone by name. Now, look, it's a matter of record that the Duma just cut the subsidies for retail gas. So if you want to know who's responsible for it, it's the people who have been artificially capping the price of your gas and diesel and can no longer afford to do it because of the free market that we're in and because you've made yourself a pariah state that nobody will do business with except the worst people in the world. That's the bottom line. We want to know everybody by name and photos so that people know that you bastards are responsible for this price. Not the abstract market, but you. What's going on in your heads? And most importantly, who is not mentioned there, is the Kremlin. It's not the Kremlin that's responsible for this. It's not the disastrous economic policies of a person who overreached into areas that they did not understand and who thinks like this, that everything's a conspiracy, that the free market isn't a real thing, that individuals don't have free will and the ability to act on their own. Guys, facts matter. There is a massive shortage of gasoline and diesel inside Russia. Russia can no longer afford to subsidize the price at the pump, and so the people are bearing the brunt of it. And gas prices are up from Rostov-on-Don to Irkutsk. This is reality, and it's going to break the Russians. It's going to break them. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but this can't go on. And I'll tell you, the knock-on impact of Russia not exporting about $300 million a day in refined oil products is going to lead to higher prices at the pump for you. The longer this war goes on, the more likely we are to be facing a global recession driven by the disastrous policies of the failed state that is Russia. Thank you, my friends.